What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. As always, I am one half of your host here, Dylan. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And, of course, one of my co-founders here at Team DSM Media, my co-host on Turf Talk, filling in for Ginn today, my man Scotty. You can find him on Twitter as well, at Scotty Drowned. And you can find us all on at DSM_media. Guys, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to us, hit that follow button on our Twitter page. You can find our link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform we have available. Chris, what is going on, my guy? Thank you for tuning in. And today's show, Scotty, this is just going to be a little therapy session. Obviously, the Eagles get eliminated. Their offseason begins today. They lose to the Bucs 31-15 yesterday. We'll obviously start there. We'll dive into that game, react to it, break it down as best we can. And then, of course, the Sixers, we were hoping they could ease our pain a little bit today with some matinee basketball. And Joel Embiid needs help. So that's where Joel Embiid needs help, Chris. Sixers lost in an ugly fashion in Washington today. But let's start with the Eagles, Scotty. Like I said, they fall 31-15 to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. And before we get into Jalen Hurts, before we get into Gannon and Sirianni and, what happened, what transpired in yesterday's loss, Jalen Reagor, all of it, I just want to talk about, what this game meant, what this loss meant yesterday, right? Obviously, this season overall was a success. We can't get too low when we're down bad like this, right? We can't be too negative. The season was a success, and quite honestly, we fooled ourselves, thinking that this team could win that game yesterday, thinking that they even had a chance to win that game yesterday. I know Phil tried to talk us out of it before making our picks, and we're doing a pregame show. We're doing giveaways here. We had to pick the Birds yesterday. We fooled ourselves. That's on us. But what sucked about it was that was such a terrible way to end a good season. Like, I'm okay with losing. And we should have known they were going to lose that game. But show up. Look like you deserved to be one of the 7 seeds in the NFC. Scotty, that performance, no one's talking about it. That performance was worse than the Vegas performance. They didn't look prepared. And I understand, young team, basically a rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, rookie defensive coordinator against the GOAT and the defending champs on their turf. I understand they were overwhelmed, but at least show up. I can handle losing, but I don't like when the energy level looks low, when you just look shell-shocked from the opening snap. I wasn't okay with that. Disappointing loss, disappointing way to end the season, which was an overall success. But what are your overall thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that analysis. It was a disappointing finish. And, I guess I can apologize for picking the Birds. Like, maybe it was irresponsible of me and like you said, foolish of us, like, for thinking that, like, we got real hype. We built up over this second half of the season. And we bought into fool's gold, and that's our fault on our judgment, right? Like, that is what it is. It's part of fandom, it's part of analysis. It gets deep in there, but this team, they just didn't look like they belonged on the field yesterday. Like, that's what was embarrassing about it. It was that, as much as the Bucs are beat up right now, as many people that are out, they're still gashing you in the run game at times. Come on, we have to have some
first play
at some point. Yeah, the first play was a first down. Like, it was
run
like
a
11 or 12-yard run.
Yeah.
And Vaughn. Like, so what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, we just had zero dignity in the game. You talked about effort, heads down, looking shook. I mean, pressure in your face, just freeze like a
wide receivers showing frustration.
Showman, you know what I mean? Like, it was wild to watch. I mean, even my guy Goddard, catch the damn ball, my dude. Like, we are in the playoffs. Like, I love Goddard. Like, and this is a guy that I'll stand for, right? I'll make excuses for him. There's no excuse for the drops that we've seen over the last few games of this season. And so that's one side of it. But, like, there's so much to dig into. But overall, just disappointed in the effort and the just representing Philadelphia. That's not Philadelphia. They abandoned their identity so quickly. It's insane. And I get that there was so much going on. It's like, what do we do? It just seems like the panic button was hit like like first possession in, panic, boom, we're scared. This game's going
man.
south. It
Listen,
sucks, man.
It was the worst possible start. We talked about it on the pregame
Literally.
show. We laid out different scenarios where a slow start could bite the Eagles in the ass, and it was literally the worst of the worst start, right? You allow the Bucs to not only go down and score 7 on the opening possession, but it wasn't just an explosive play. It was 5-minute drive, 12 plays, 75 yards, do whatever you wanted to do, punch it in at the end of the drive, right? Then it's an Eagles 3 and out. And to top it all off, the punter then shanks a punt for 25 yards right after that, giving Tom Brady a short field, right back down, a 2-score game, just like that. And it's like you knew at that moment, like you just had to laugh almost. Like I sat back at a certain point. Don't get me wrong, I was frustrated. When it was a 14-point game, even when it was 17-0, I still had a little bit of hope. Like if they can do this, if they can get a couple stops, I had a little bit of hope. And then once the second half hit and their first drive went nowhere, you just start to laugh it off, man. Like you know where this is headed, you know where this is going. So you can't get too over the top and down with it, because you do know that we were happy to be here, right? But you do need to show up. And what makes me laugh is I'm on social media yesterday. And before we get to, the meat of this conversation being the quarterback, I like just people bashing the defense. Was the defense good, Scotty? Not by any stretch of the imagination. They got 31 laid on them, and it could have been a lot worse. But at a certain point in this first half, it was 14-0 between the times of it being 14-0 and 17-0. The defense strung together 4 stops in a row. 4 straight possessions. They stopped Tom Brady. They got pressure on Tom Brady. They sacked Tom Brady. And the offense did nothing with it. That's when the game was over. Like the defense didn't lose the Eagles this game. The offensive side of the ball lost the Eagles this game. I get it. They gave up 30+. It could have been worse if it was a closer game and Tom really had to drive the ball more. But the offensive side of the ball is where the Eagles lost this game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And that's why, looking at what everybody was saying after the game yesterday, I just did not understand it. Like, okay, I get it. We're going to look at this overall season for Jalen Hurts, and we'll talk about Jalen Hurts solely. But the offense, was indescribable. It's unimaginable. Like, we, abandoned the run. We went 3 and out after 3 and out. Then we start turning the ball over. I remember it was right on that first interception that was in the corner of the end zone.
Yep.
I looked at Alexis, my girlfriend, and I said, if we want 1% chance at this game right now, we cannot turn the ball over here. I think it was right before half. I was like, we cannot go into the half.
There was 50-some seconds left.
We cannot go into the half with 0 points.
Right.
And he throws an interception, I swear to God, the next play. And I'm just like, you can't excuse that type of
decision-making. On a route where Devontae Smith, now maybe the defender slipped, but Devontae Smith runs one hell of a double move. Defenders on the ground. He's open by 95 yards, Scotty. And the kid takes way too long. He tries to square his shoulders and then make the throw. It's a hell of a play. Great play by the safety. But that has to be a touchdown, Scotty. And like you said, we'll get into his play and what he missed and what he did wrong. But that can't happen. You're 100% right. And then you got the people again. That happens. It's 17-0. That was the drive you had a chance to maybe be in this game. Even if you come away with 3.
Get back in the game at least.
Right. Obviously, we wanted 6. 17-7 at halftime, we would have been happy, right? We would have taken that. But even if you get 3, you're at Tampa Bay's 20, 25-yard line. You get 3, you get the ball to start the second half. If you can put something together to start the second half, it's 17-10, brand new ball game, right? You played yourself out of the game with that interception. And I got people on social media and the halftime crew kind of talking about, well, that last drive, they really built up some momentum. So let's see if they can take it in the second half. Shut up. Like, this is my point, and we can kind of segue into the Jalen Hurts conversation, but I'm just tired of it's excuse after excuse. That is on him. Stop. The grass isn't always greener, okay? That's a bad play. It played the Eagles out of the game in the first half. It took points off the board, right?
Yeah.
No one's No, we're going to talk about how that was a momentum building drive and the offense finally put something together. Stop it.
And one last thing about the overall game is, and it's something that I texted you, probably in the second half of this game. And I think the most disappointing part of it was simply that the Bucs left the door open even wider than what we thought they would.
You tweeted it too, yeah.
They left it open, way more open than what I could have imagined. I thought they were going to play even better than what they did. And I thought
when the defense started putting together some stops and sacking Brady.
Exactly. And that's just how highly I've really went into this game, thinking of that rushing attack on offense, and they just they totally they totally laid an egg.
Yeah,
and Chris, is baseball coming back? I am not the guy to ask, my man.
Let's touch on this before we get to the Jalen Hurts conversation. Will he be? No. I believe the Eagles still hold $4.2 million or something like that. If they cut Jalen Reagor, he's still extremely young, but I wish he was done here. Like, dude, someone tweeted it. Are we allowed to boo now? Are we allowed to boo? Like, what in the hell is he doing, Scotty? First of all, I heard the wind excuse by the broadcast crew. Maybe the wind played a factor in it. He's so out of position. He's crouched down like he's taking a shit and reaches out to try to catch the ball 2 yards in front of him. Forget that part.
Didn't even fair catch.
That's what I'm talking about. Even if he catches the ball, he's
what are we
getting
doing?
laid out.
Like, have you ever returned punts before? And this is like sarcasm, obviously. Like, you're a punt returner. Fair catch. If it's windy, fair catch even more. Like, it's very simple, man. I agree. And I'll even look further, like the special teams coach, Nick Sirianni. Why do we continue to put him back there? That wasn't even his first mistake on a punt return in that game. It wasn't.
No,
it was just his first muff punt. That was all.
Everything went wrong. Listen, man, everything went wrong. They didn't use Jordan Howard. I don't get that. I don't get that either. Is he not 100% healthy? I have no idea.
Not a rush, a catch.
Yeah, they didn't use Jordan Howard at all when, that dual threat of him and Sanders, was going in the latter part of the season. Jordan Howard's a non-factor. I mean, my God, dude.
Is Miles Sanders a fraud? I mean, is he just a fraud or?
I don't know, bro. Devontae Smith. You have Troy Aikman begging the Eagles to get him involved, showing you live before the snap. The cornerback's 8 yards off of Devontae Smith. Here's what you can do. 3 different options. No, they throw a screen to Jalen Reagor. No, they try to throw it. He throws in a double coverage to Dallas Goedert down the sideline. No, he overthrows Quez Watkins. What are we doing? Like, this is my point, Scotty. We talked about Devontae Smith getting the record, right? And we talked about, why, I didn't like that they made it such a point to do that. Like, you're putting his health at risk before the playoffs. You're willing in a meaningless football game where you're benching everybody to force feed Devontae Smith for a pointless record, but you don't go out of your way to get him the damn ball in the postseason. Explain that to me. And then here comes Nick Sirianni, who I'm not going to be overly critical of him today. He was horrible yesterday. He comes on the postgame show. Yeah, man, it starts with us. I got to do a better job of putting my guys in a position to succeed. I am so tired of hearing that. That's the excuse we got in the first half of the season, Scotty. Now you're here. You're in the playoffs. The broadcast crew is pleading with you to get this superstar. But you get my point. This rising star, the
future Hall of Famer.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Eagles. He's on pace to be the Eagles' best wide receiver of all time.
And it's like you go out of your way to not get him involved in the game.
Yeah, I make that make sense. And just one specific thing, and I'm not being funny here. I'm just pointing something out. In that game where they force-fed Devontae Smith, that was Gardner Minshew throwing the ball. So I'm not being funny. I'm just being observant.
All right.
But yeah, that's immediately what I thought, Dylan, is how can you force-feed Devontae Smith in a meaningless game, but then refuse to even just look his way in the most important game of the season?
Yeah.
It was unreal. And there's no excuse because then, okay, now you go and you overdo it in the second half. What he ended up with like 11 targets.
Right.
That's fraudulent. You did that all in
Right.
garbage time. That doesn't count. Like in reality, he should have 15 to 20 targets if we were doing that because he should have had targets in the first half. It's ridiculous. Going to Jalen Reagor, man. And like, I love Gainwell. We're going to Gainwell. He had like 7 targets. Like, no, all that shit goes to Devontae Smith. Run plays for him. And then the first play they run for him is a screen. I swear. Why are we running a screen? He's a great
that got
route
called
runner.
back. That got called back for offensive pass interference because Quez was blocking before the ball was caught more than a yard down the field.
We're the only ones that get called for this type of shit.
Something else that was an issue earlier in the year that they had to coach up comes out to show in the playoffs. But Adam, man, I feel you. It wouldn't have changed anything. It wouldn't have changed the outcome of this game. They wouldn't have been more ready. The chemistry wouldn't have been better. They're just not there yet. They're not a good enough team. They would have got their doors blown off either way. But listen, man, let's get to the meat of this conversation, and it's this. I know we clipped a previous show between that you were on with me, and you know I try to be level-headed. I'm going to try to be level-headed today. I don't want to do what I said not to do before. When I said the Eagles fans, you can't get, too high off of the positives with Jalen Hurts, and you can't get too low off of the negative games from Jalen Hurts. But I struggle with it because I watched yesterday, and I watched the things he can control as a passer, and I watched the way he struggles and the things he doesn't do well, and they're just amplified right in your face. Missed throw after missed throw, inaccurate down the field, throwing into double coverage, leaving clean pockets, not seeing Quez Watkins multiple times, streaking open for a touchdown, not getting Devontae Smith the ball, not having the arm to make all the throws. And I don't know how you watch a performance like that and you're confident in what you're getting in the future.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great.
I don't want to come off. I'm not going to be this guy that comes out and goes, he sucks. He's not it.
Right.
Did you watch what he did yesterday? He can never be it. If there's one thing I know about Jalen Hurts, the guy, is he's going to put in the work. He's going to try. But sometimes, Scotty, not good enough is just not good enough. Sometimes flashes are just that. They're a flash. He can make a play here and there. But maybe he's just not good enough. I watched that game yesterday, and my God, Scotty, he was awful.
Yeah.
The one thing that didn't even inch its way into my mind leading up to this matchup, the one thing that could not happen in yesterday's game in a loss was that Jalen Hurts played so badly that the conversation could even start back up.
Yeah.
The debate could even start back up whether or not he should be the guy next year. Next year. Forget the future. I'm talking 2022. And Scotty, he played that badly for the conversation to be back. That was the only thing that couldn't happen. The Eagles could have got their doors blown off, but he looked okay. He looked good. He played them out of a chance to win. We've been begging to see what happens when the run's not there. What happens if they get behind early and they can't run their way back into the ball game? And I think that's what you're just going to get. I think that's it. I'm tired of hearing how great of a leader he is, how great of a guy he is. I don't care about that. That is all secondary. I don't care that, he's going to put in the work. I haven't seen it pay out yet. I'm tired of how many games he's played so far. All right, Scott, what does the number have to get to for that conversation to stop? It's up to 22 now. This wasn't his 4th start. This wasn't his 10th start. It wasn't his 15th start. He's up to 22 games started. Is that a ton? No, but it's a big enough sample size to stop saying, well, he's only played in his 22nd game. How many games has Joe Burrow played, Scotty? How many games has Justin Herbert played? But do we say that? No, we don't. because we see what they can do. And this is the conversation we keep having with Jalen Hurts, and it's got to stop. I can't take that excuse anymore, man. I can't take, well, he doesn't have enough. Scotty, does he have enough weapons? No, I think we can agree on that, right? Like the Eagles receiving core isn't good enough. Vince Quinn came on the pregame show yesterday and said that this is probably the best Eagles offensive line he's ever seen. Better when Jason Peters was in his prime, better when Brandon Brooks was healthy, right? They're that deep, they're that good. They have the number one rushing attack in football. You have Dallas Goedert, who you could argue is probably already a top 5, top 6 tight end, right? You have Devontae Smith on the outside. I get you need more, but let's not act like he's got nothing, dude.
Yeah. He's just, when you watch that game yesterday, everybody's going to pull out these excuses. There's no wide receiver 2, this and that. It comes down to the fact where you're just looking for your quarterback to show you something.
Right.
Like it so many points in that game, I'm like, Jalen, like, please just show me something to get excited about in this game. And it just ran. I kept begging and begging and begging, and it's still just a 0 on the board. Like, at some point in that game, you have to make up for other players' mistakes even, right? Like, that's what great quarterbacks do, good quarterbacks do. And I get it. He's a second-year quarterback, whatever the case may be. He's such a young quarterback. I get it. But it's not just the reads. It's not just the progressions. It's the arm strength, the talent, the velocity that the ball comes out as, the accuracy. And these are the things that we have talked about since he was at Alabama. Like, it's not like this is some new read on Jalen Hurts, his profile. Like, no, those have been his weaknesses. And I said it on Twitter, I put it in a very positive way. I'm not trying to bring people down and be this hater and all of this. Like, I pray and I hope and pray that if Jalen Hurts is the quarterback in 2022, 2023, that he gets better in the passing game, because I can't watch this dismal passing operation that we have going on here. They call it this QB factory. These last 2 seasons of passing offense have been miserable. And it's been different coaches. It's been different quarterbacks. Maybe it's an Eagles thing. Maybe it's Howie thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't, Dylan, like 17 more games next year. You talk about confidence. That's why I said it's the perfect way to put it. How can you have confidence in Jalen Hurts' arm?
Right.
There is no way in reality that you can say you have confidence in his arm. And I just won't believe that. And so when I look at next season, I'm thinking about a dismal passing game. But if he's going to be the guy, I'll hope for the best. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But like you said, he left the door open. Now, I know people will try to deny it, but the Eagles will look around the avenues of a quarterback this offseason. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They may strike out, but they will do it.
Scotty, he could have just played average yesterday and the Eagles get their doors blown off and the conversation wouldn't be back up. He was a negative.
Yeah.
He turned the ball over. When Dan Orlovsky in mid-game is put, like, that's my point. You brought up wide receiver 2. They don't have wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
We agree. They don't. Quez Watkins isn't a wide receiver 2. Hell, I don't know if Quez Watkins is a wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
But you know what wide receiver 2 did yesterday, Scotty? He got wide open over the middle of the field for what would have been a touchdown. But QB1 left a clean pocket and threw a ball into a defensive lineman's hands for a batted pass on 3rd down to force a punt early in the game. Is that all wide receiver 2? Wide receiver 2 is not good enough. No, if he sees him, if he can deliver the ball, that's a touchdown in the beginning of the goddamn game.
What's multiple wide receivers matter if you can't go through your progressions and make a read? Exactly. I mean, if you're stuck on wide receiver 1, you're not going to get to wide receiver 2.
Who cares about wide receivers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Who the hell cares when wide receiver 1 in Devontae Smith is open all game and you're not getting him the ball? Who cares about wide receiver 2, what they're missing? You can look at what he can control. And what he could control yesterday, he was pitiful at. And it's the same question marks we've had all year long. They got masked. They got disguised for a few weeks because they played bad teams. They were able to pound the ball down your throat, and they were able to run first, and he could pick his spots. Did he look better as a passer? Yes, and I gave credit when credit's due, but it's okay to criticize, guys. This isn't me being a hater. I'm not coming out. I told you so. I told you so. You know what? Like, this isn't me taking a victory lap and not wanting to see Jalen Hurts succeed. What you just said is perfect. I pray to God next year he gets better and he can be the guy, because it makes the Eagles better. It makes the Eagles' future easier. But I don't know how you watch what you see of him as a passer and you can confidently say he can be QB1. I don't freaking see it. I don't know what you see.
And to your point, I think another good point here is to notate that when we talk about Hurts like this and we talk about next season, that's not to say that the Eagles can't make the playoffs again with Jalen Hurts as a quarterback.
Right.
We're not saying that. We're not saying that he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. Not even the worst starting quarterback in the NFL, right? Like, we're not saying that. But is he a guy that's going to take your team to the promised land? And when you see this early on, you're looking for certain things. And if there's people out there that wholeheartedly believe in mobile quarterback play and that dual threat and, running for 1,000 yards with your quarterback and thinking you're going to win like that Lamar Jackson style, it's fun. It's exciting while it's going on, but it does not win championships. And we've seen it over and over again. And I'm not a believer in it. I like a prototypical quarterback that can make the throws. That's what I want.
But here's the best part. We'll clown Lamar Jackson and the Ravens when they come up short in the playoffs. Everyone does it. But now that we have a quarterback, because that's the issue, Scotty, it's the same thing I talk about with Sixers fans and Matisse Thybulle and these guys that are just likable. He's a likable dude. Yeah. He's young. Yeah. He's shown flashes. I get it. But I'll keep saying it. Sometimes what you see is just what you're going to get, man. Like
what's the best version of Jalen Hurts? Like, it's something I ask myself. Like Tyrod Taylor, you know what I mean? Like,
let's say he can improve as a passer, Scotty. Let's say he improves as a passer. What tier does that put him in? Where can he take the Eagles? Even if he's better than he is right now.
How much as a passer does he improve? Is it Dak Prescott improvements as a passer? Right. Because for a while now, people have been telling us that Dak Prescott's this elite quarterback that can't win with anything, right? Like, what levels of improvements are we talking about? Because Dak doesn't have the natural talent. He's improved over his career, right? Mechanics and this and that. But he still shows those same glimpses, those same weaknesses in big moments. And we see it every year with the Cowboys getting bounced early.
All yesterday.
So what are the improvements? How far does that go out? How much can he improve? Like, how long do we wait for it? Right? Like, so you got to see these signs. If somebody could show me a series of plays this season where you prove that Jalen Hurts can really pass the ball, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah. So, and we'll get to this because this just brings a smile.
I had to throw
face.
A rag in there on Dak, man.
It eased my pain a little bit. And what I'll say, guys, by the way, an ending to a game I've never seen before. I've never
Only Dallas,
ever seen that before. By the way, he's such a great guy. He's such a great leader. Yeah. Let's egg on fans to throw trash down on the field at officials. You're a great dude. You're a great leader, bud. But what I'll say is,
incredible effort by those Eagles fans to fly down to Dallas and start throwing trash.
Oh, it was cool, man. But here's the best part. If he can't win there, where's he gonna win? Well, I said this to you before on Turf Talk before the playoffs started. What more do you need?
What's the excuse?
Right.
Like, what are we using? I haven't like dug into Cowboys Twitter or anything. Like, what is the excuse we're using?
You know what, man? I think I'm sure you've seen the clips, and I actually watched it on First Take this morning. Stephen A. Smith clowning. It's hilarious. But he even said, you don't hear the excuses from Cowboys fans today. You're not. I feel like they're kind of, maybe they got punched in the face so hard yesterday. They kind of realized, like, man, this is who we are. Like, normally you hear next year's our year, the refs, blah, blah, blah. You're not even getting that, because I think before, like, okay, Say what you want about the end of the game. That's on Dak. That's on, I don't know if that was a design QB run. It's not on the official because the 48, 50-some-year-old official wasn't fast enough to run up the field. You don't run the ball up the middle with 14 seconds left and no timeouts when you need a touchdown, okay? But normally what you would have heard from them on social media, and it would have been such an outcry of how it's rigged and how the officials did this. You're not hearing that.
It's interesting.
At least I'm not seeing it.
No, I haven't seen it.
You're kind of, they're just like, again. And listen, this isn't me taking, I mean, I am taking a shot because it makes my pain feel a little bit easier. But we just got thumped yesterday too. So I can't talk too much shit.
We got thumped by
Adam, let us know what Cowboy Nation's looking like on social media.
Cowboys got thumped by Jimmy G. We got thumped by the GOAT.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's take it back to our pitiful QB play yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And again, something I want to say to Eagles Nation, guys, stop gatekeeping. I said that backwards. Stop gatekeeping. Stop anytime you hear criticism about a guy you like in Jalen Hurts, calling everyone haters. You're not a true Eagles fan. I'm not a true Eagles fan because I want the Eagles QB to be better. How does that make sense, Scotty? I can evaluate what I can see from Jalen Hurts. And what I saw from Jalen Hurts yesterday was inaccuracy from the start of the game to the end of the game. A lack of adjustment all throughout the game. He doesn't go through his progressions. He doesn't see down the field. He does it like it's that bad. Throwing high, overthrowing guys now. How many times did he throw into double coverage yesterday? How many times?
I have no idea.
Probably 5 or 6.
Yeah,
in tight double coverage. That Devontae Smith end zone interception should be 6 points 10 times out of 10. That Quez Watkins read should be 6 points 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't because he can't. He is yet to show that he can do those things. And I'll leave it to the viewers, Scotty. Guys, comment along. Tell us what you're feeling if you disagree, because like I said, this isn't a bashing Jalen. I'm not trying to bash Jalen Hurts and just be like, I told you he's not the guy. I just don't get how you're confident going forward with him, because there's people out there that are.
They just said, they assume that he's gonna, get significantly better in the offseason. I mean, you can assume, we can hope, we can pray, but until it happens, we can't speak on it. So I'm with you. I don't get the protecting. At the end of the day, he's a quarterback. It's the most judged, criticized position in the NFL, and that's what's going to happen at the end of the day. But the Jalen Hurts thing, the argument that I've heard is the game plan. I get it, and I've said it. Abandoning the run, whatever the case may be. Regardless, you have to make plays as a quarterback to win the game. What
does that have to do with anything?
How much has Nick Sirianni changed his entire offense for Jalen Hurts
to cater to you?
Nick Sirianni likes to pass the rock. He likes to pass the football. He can't. And it was talked about before. I think it was Ty Johnson. It was Nick Sirianni deserves all the credit this season because he's the one that adjusted. He's the one that maneuvered his offense to fit his players and fit Jalen Hurts in that running style. It's not necessarily the best way to win.
Yesterday was one of those games, Scotty, where remember earlier in the year we would question, is it Jalen? Is it Nick? Is it a combination of both, right? And yesterday, was Nick good? No, he wasn't, right? But we're sitting here saying how bad of a game plan he had yesterday, how bad of a play calling day he had yesterday. Did he? Or did Jalen Hurts just not was Jalen Hurts just not able to deliver the football in spots he should have been able to, where people open, like Quez Watkins was, like Devontae Smith was, on plays that Nick Sirianni called, but the quarterback was unable to execute those plays? But no, you'll hear the excuse. He needs more help. He needs time to grow. He's only 23. He's only played in 22 games. I'm tired of the excuses, man, because listen, I don't want to be this guy. And again, horrible timing to be this guy when the guy that I'm about to bring up had maybe one of the worst days a quarterback has ever had against the worst team in the National Football League to make the playoffs. But you get my point about how they make excuses for likable guys, but they'll just throw the wood chipper at guys they don't like. Like, you ran a dude out of here after a down season because of a very disappointing season, right? What help did he have, Scotty? He had Travis Fulgham and John Hightower and Boston Scott and 12 different offensive line combinations. But y'all didn't want to say that. You didn't want to bring it up. He played more games, so he should be better. But this kid gets every excuse in the book, and I won't keep doing it. I won't keep hearing it. I'm saying it. I don't think he's good enough. I really don't need to see more. Will he be the quarterback in 2022? Yes, because it is hard to go back and forth with this. And, before 1 o'clock on Sunday, he has the job. And just because of a down game, he shouldn't have the job, right? Not to mention your options. What are you doing? Are you trading those first-round picks for Russ or somebody? Are any of the quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class worth it? Probably not. So he's going to have the job in 2022. I just think we're all going to be very disappointed by the outcome of 2022. And I hope to God I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope for the best, but based on what? I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the passing offense looks like next year, I guess. But that is just that. We are on to next year, sadly. So
it's crazy, man. And as this week goes on and as this all season goes on, I'm sure we'll be talking about it plenty throughout all of our shows. And obviously, as the draft is up and coming, we'll be breaking it all down because the Eagles draft time is going to be exciting. That is a positive after this, Scotty. Normally, you have a down year, you have to suffer through a down year, but then draft time comes around and you're happy. Why? Because you have a higher pick in the draft, and that makes that time more exciting, right? Or you go to the playoffs, you get bounced, you don't win, and your draft pick's kind of blah. The Eagles overachieved, got a playoff game, and now draft time still gets to be fun because we have 3 first-round draft picks up and coming.
Yep.
So it'll definitely be interesting, man. But anything else on your mind about yesterday's game? I think one positive, it was probably Derek Barnett's last game played as an Eagle. Jay Jaw probably will not be on the team next year as he was not even activated to play today. Who knows what the future holds for Jalen Reagor after that performance?
Ryan
but outside
Kerrigan
of that,
had the game of his life.
Yo. Yo, hold on. Let's talk about that for a second. Bruce Arians. No, not Ryan Kerrigan. Bruce Arians. Listen, I'm not giving the excuse for Antonio Brown. Obviously, I still stand pat on my thought process with what happened with him in Tampa Bay. But he might have a little bit more of a case when I see what Bruce Arians
throwing guys out there injured
did yesterday. First of all, tried to punch a dude with a helmet on yesterday. I get it. He was angry. Dude could have got a penalty when his defense was getting off the field. You literally took a swing at the dude's head. It was funny to watch, but it's like, probably don't do that, coach. Tristan Wirfs should not have been back on that field. Back out there.
That's what I said to my girl. I was like,
Jensen.
Yep. He just went in the locker room. They injected him. They got him right.
Like Jensen, he ended up, I think, continuing throughout the rest of the game, and he seemed okay. But that dude was crying almost, punching the turf as he was down injured, and he's back out there the next possession. Like, is that him? Or, like, is that him just being like a dude from Braveheart? Because he literally looks like a Scottish dude.
Were there any drug tests administered after this game?
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, Bruce Arians is definitely a certified asshole. I can tell you that.
I can 100% get behind that.
Did you another thing I saw, I think my mom brought it up to me yesterday. Did Nick not shake hands?
He did not, man. I was looking at the end. Bruce Arians was out in the middle of the field.
And again, man, I love our fan base, but guys, you're awfully quiet for a fan base that was so high and mighty that Tom didn't shake Nick's hand. He's such a D-bag. He didn't, sore loser, didn't shake his hand.
It doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me either.
It doesn't bother me, but it is funny. It is funny.
It's very funny.
It's a
It's
contradiction.
very ironic.
Right.
Because this fan base, and again, a lot of people joke about it, but there's a lot of casual Eagles fans, a lot of people out there. Tom Brady's the worst human being ever because he didn't shake Nick Foles' hand after losing the Super Bowl. Not a peep
So hilarious.
of Nick Sirianni not shaking hands today.
Because I get it. I'm a sore loser, too. I don't like to lose. So, like, I get not shaking the hand. But it is just hilarious how, contradictory our fan base gets at times, man. It's funny as hell.
I have a very love-hate relationship with my brothers and sisters in the Eagles fan base. Because, guys, I can't take you sometimes. I really can't, man. And that's all you heard pregame was, I wonder if Tom's going to shake hands after he loses today.
After he loses. Man, we were all foolishly.
Yeah. We
I think that was like something that I realized this morning. I was like, part of this is me. It's like what I did to Ben Simmons. I like put these expectations that were like my idea, and I just assumed that they would fulfill them, and they just.
So let me ask you something.
Like,
before we move on, let me ask you, because I know we talked last night after the game, and I know emotions run high at their loss, and you don't want to be too over-exaggerative, too overreactive to one game. But, like, what's your mindset been like from last night to today? Like, have you changed your emotions? Are you, like, have they kind of stayed the same?
My emotions have changed, but my ideas of everything have not. Like, I know what I saw yesterday. I know that I saw the same inconsistencies, which I think another thing regarding Jalen Hurts, like, throw that ankle shit out the window. Like, I'm not hearing that.
Me neither.
I'm not hearing that at all.
Can I say something too?
Get the hell out of here.
I'm going to come off as such an asshole. I'm not saying the kid's ankle isn't effed up. It might be. It probably is. Was Jalen Hurts seen leaving in a walking boot after the last month of football? After that, because we know he had the ankle injury. He missed the Jets game. We know he has an ankle injury. But after all the wins, after all those games, hits that he's taken, did he ever leave the stadium in a walking boot? No. But after the playoff loss, there's a walking boot on his ankle. Pardon me for questioning it. Is it because the season's over and it's like, you didn't want people to know how serious it was? Maybe. I don't know. But, like, I just have a hard time. Like, really, dude, like, you've had the same injury that you've had for the last month. Every win, you didn't have a walking boot on. You have probably your worst game of your career in a playoff game, and you got a walking boot on your ankle.
Yeah. I thought that was hilarious. Like, no, we don't get to make this excuse. Like, no, we don't get that one. But, just as far as what I watched yesterday and, like, what I realized this morning was, I'm not going to be angry about it. Like, the game is over now. The season's over now.
Right.
Like, we got what we got out of the season. Maybe it was what we wanted. Maybe it wasn't. Jalen Hurts, whether or not, like I said earlier, I think that the Eagles will pursue, whether it's Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, who's the other guy? Who am I forgetting? Russell Wilson, yeah. So Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, down the line, they'll look into it at least. They'll see what the price is. They'll see if they want to come here. They'll at least test it out. He left the door wide open. But my confidence, like I said, you said it perfectly earlier, Dylan, and it really completed my thought. My confidence for next season is very low. Now, when I say low, I mean low as far as I thought if Jalen Hurts could take those steps as a passer, we could be maybe a contender is stretching it, but a second round in the playoff team, right? Mm-hmm. Like a second round playoff
division winner.
Division winner, compete for the division with the Cowboys and play in those top 1 to 4 seeds, right? Like, I thought that maybe we could place there somewhere like that next year if Jalen Hurts can be that guy. Not sold on that. I think the Eagles can get better. I think they can get better than what they were this year. Not sold on Jalen Hurts. I'm not confident in the passing game, and without a confident passing game, it's hard to be confident in your football team, simply put. And that's where I'm at. So I'm not angry. I'm actually optimistic that the team can get better in the offseason because they can. They have a ton of resources. But Jalen Hurts at the quarterback, like we've been saying, what do we want? We wanted to have one of those games where we could be like, yeah, this is the guy, like, for next year, like, for sure. Maybe he is the franchise. You know what I mean? Like, maybe. Nah, not even close. And that's where I'm at now. And that's where
Scotty,
we'll have to go about it. You know what I mean?
If you even go back to the clip we discussed on Sunday or yesterday,
Yeah, it feels like forever ago.
of Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football talking about it. So this
Oh
wasn't
my
just
God.
Eagles fans being overreactive to a good season. This wasn't Eagles fans, just praying that Jalen Hurts could ball out. This was a well-known, sound football mind, national media personality saying he needs to ball out if they want to have a chance. Forget balling out, Scott. Like, that's my point. Like you said, you wanted to see, like, wow, he's the guy, right? I didn't even need that, bro.
Just lock up next year.
Exactly. You just needed to cruise. We lose. You were so bad that you opened the door back up for that conversation, as you said.
Yeah.
And that's my main problem. And again, whatever. You want to call me a hater, you can call me a hater. But, like, we can have a conversation, right? If you're someone that's confident in Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to be that guy, argue with a wall. He blows, he sucks, he's not it, and I'm just not going to hear your opinions. Talk to me and we'll dispute it, because I don't see what you're seeing clearly. Yeah. I don't understand.
He looks like a pedestrian quarterback. Like, if he rounds out his passing game, he could be a pedestrian average quarterback.
Yeah. I think that's fine to say.
I think it's as fair as it gets.
Again, if he can figure it out, he's going to put in the work. My problem with everyone is what happens next year when the same song plays again. Oh, he's only played in 40 games. Oh, he's only 24 years old. Let him develop. Oh, he still needs help. No, stop it. He's going to get next year. I don't think they're going to acquire Russ, Deshaun, even, like, if you even want Deshaun, they're not going to get Rodgers. I don't think they're going to do anything in this year's draft class. He's going to get this year, 2022. It would be so much better for this Eagles team if he turns out to be able to be the guy, because you're able to invest those draft picks and surround Jalen Hurts with talent and build around him. But I've yet to see that he is a guy I want to build this team around, and that's a problem. And something that George, one of our followers, has said on Twitter over the last day or so that I love. It's the truth, man. Like, I know everyone wants to wait, and everyone wants to say, well, these 3 first-round draft picks, don't trade for a quarterback, don't do anything. Build around Hurts, use them for the defensive side of the ball. That's great. Okay, we do that. What happens when he's not the guy in 2022? Where do we go from here? Because we don't have the assets anymore to go out and acquire a star quarterback. We're not going to have a top draft pick, because if we had 9 wins this year, this is what we're probably going to be around. We're going to be a middle of the pack team, a 21st pick, whatever it is. So what's the plan? That's why I said to you all season, this season was so important to find out if he could be the guy going forward, not just in 2022. And it just seems like everyone's complacent. Everyone's fine with just Jalen's the guy in 2022. I'm not okay with that answer, because you don't have seasons where you can have 3 first-round draft picks. No one's got more ammunition to trade for an Aaron Rodgers, to trade for a Deshaun Watson if you want him, to trade for a Russell Wilson. No one's got more ammunition to trade up in the draft to get the number 1 overall quarterback in the draft class. No one's got more. And that question is still, left open, and that's my problem, Scotty. But what are you going to do? The season is over. It's back to hypotheticals, right? We were so happy to get over the hypotheticals of this past week. Finally, we can just get into the game. Now we're back to hypotheticals, because it's going to be a hell of an offseason. And it's never easy here in Philadelphia, is it?
Yeah, no, never. And I agree. I think they do need to trade at least one of those firsts, and get another first next year. I think you have to do it. You got to conserve those picks. If you're the Eagles, if you're Howie and you say, okay, we strike out on those top 3 guys and we're going to stick with Jalen, I'm fine with that. I get that. but keep some ammunition for the following season if he
I
shows
think you'll
even
be able
more
to as
signs.
well. What I know, we have the 19th pick. Obviously, we have what, the 15th, the 16th,
15th,
and the 19th, or the
I think
14th, whatever
something
it
like
is.
that. Yeah.
I think you could be able to move that 19th maybe to like the 23rd, 24th slot. Let a
Yeah.
team climb up what they want to get what they want, and they'll give you their first next year. But again, if that team's the 23rd, 24th overall pick, what does that mean? They're a pretty good team already. They're a playoff team. They won a game maybe in the
Right.
playoffs.
That
What's
pick
that
won't
first
be
round draft pick
valuable.
look like next year?
Yeah.
Right. So the question marks will remain open. It sucks that it came back to such a negative tone after I had finally gotten over my overly critical self of Jalen Hurts. I finally let in and said, all right, he's the guy in 2022. We'll move on. That door's back open. That conversation's begun again. And here we are. But man, before we wrap
now
up,
we wait for Howie and those draft picks, man.
hell yeah. Before we wrap up though, the Sixers lose today. In pretty bad fashion as well to the Washington Wizards on the road. And Embiid, was this his 10th or 11th straight game with 30 plus on the road? 11th straight game with 30 plus on the road. And I saw a tweet before we went live. I know Joel Embiid wants to keep telling everyone he doesn't need help. He needs help. I mean, it's that simple. At one point in the game, Embiid had 30 and nobody else had more than 8 points. Listen, man, I don't even know. The team's been great. They had a hell of a weekend. That's what sucks. You beat Boston on Friday night. The next night, you travel down to Miami. You take care of Miami. You play great defense, and B drops 30 plus. You beat both of those rivals on a back-to-back, and then you lay a dud today. And it really kind of just put the cap on this weekend, Scotty. I just need to move forward for Philly sports this weekend.
Yeah, man, it really hurt. It was close to a 20-point loss to the Wizards, right? Like, and I just don't even know what to think about it. Like, when I look at this and I looked at the game, it's like Embiid is dominating, and I get that. But then I look across the court, and I'm like, he's having to do so much on offense
against
that it's hampering him on the defensive end. And so we're seeing these centers like Montrezl Harrell, Thomas Bryant. They come out of the game each having 18 and then 15 points, up over 5 rebounds each. And those aren't even the starting centers. They come in, they get these stats, you know what I mean? And it's overall hustle. Part of it is, playing 3 games in 4 days. I get that. But we got to get some help in order to preserve him is what I'm getting at, because eventually it's going to run out. This guy is huge. He's putting in his usage has to be just sky high at this point. And it's not maintainable. It's not sustainable the way they're playing. Like, yes, at one point throughout this game, if some of those guys would have just hit some shots, like if Seth maybe could have hit anything today, Tobias hit anything today, they could have been in this game. But that's just it. They would have just been in this game, right? Like with the Wizards, they're not in this upper echelon. And I know they're missing guys, so maybe it's a little bit of an overreaction, but it's a recurring thing that we're talking about here. There's a reason that Embiid has to score 30 plus points in 11 straight road games. Like there's a reason that has to happen. And once again, seems like every year we're just asking, like, can we get a second scorer for Embiid that can, put up a 20 plus a game along with Embiid? Not an 18, not a 15 from Maxey, 16 from Maxey. I love Maxey. He was the only other bright spot in this game today. But you need somebody who can get up in there, that can hit shots, can get his own shot just like Embiid can, and can match Embiid with that type of production, because some nights Embiid just deserves a night off. And by a night off, I just mean like 22 and 11. Yeah. like that's what I mean. Like, it's still a double-double. I still want him to get over 20 points, but like just grueling 30-plus point games where Embiid is having to do everything on offense, it's just not sustainable, and it's not enjoyable either.
I mean, listen, man, I don't know if anyone outside of Embiid or Maxey knew that the Sixers had a game today.
Is it like the 2 p.m. start? Is that the problem? Like, I don't know. Kyle Kuzma was embarrassing us. Like, that was so fucking annoying.
There's a few things here, right? Tobias Harris. We'll start there. Just when you think he had a great night in Miami.
The other night. Yeah.
A great night in Miami. And maybe you're right. He's tired. They're tired, right? 3 games in 4 nights. I get it. But my God, dude. 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist in 25 minutes. He fouled out. He shot 3 of 11 from the field. He only took 2 threes, didn't get to the line, and was a liability defensively. He has taken a step backwards on the defensive end this year from last year when it looked like he could guard multiple positions. He's a guy that's getting really hard to try to be optimistic about. But this was also a game that had Doc Rivers' handprint on it. And I know players got to play, right? And a coach can only do so much. But never, ever, Scotty, should Seth Curry only have one more shot in 31 minutes of play than Isaiah Joe had in 17 minutes of play. Never, ever should Seth Curry have less shot attempts than Furkan Korkmaz. Never, ever should Seth Curry only have 2 more shot attempts than Charlie freaking Brown Jr. What are we doing here? I know they need more. I know they're missing Tease and Shake and Danny still out. I know they're missing guys. But Charlie Brown Jr. is the first sub today. Charlie Brown Jr. has played 23 minutes and took 7 shots. What are we doing here, man? Furkan, 3 of 10. Toby, 3 of 11. Like I said, Seth only takes 9 shots. Niang, one of your probably your best shooter off the bench, takes 4 shots. But Charlie Brown Jr. and Isaiah Joe take 15 combined. You see my problem? At the end of the day, players have to go out there and play, right? I'll always say that. People, I think, put too much stock into what a coach does. But on a game like today, you call a timeout when you see what's transpiring, and you say, Furk, if you take one more shot in the next 5 minutes, your ass is getting sat down. When he's got 9 shot attempts and Curry's got 4. That should never happen, Scotty, and that's on the coach today.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's just a matter of what we've been talking about, putting your players in positions to succeed. And, Curry comes out, he hits the opening shot, and Doc Rivers even talked about this in the post-game press conference, basically saying, Seth hit the first shot of the game, then, the guys went away from him, and we got to do a better job of that going back.
But that's what you can change that, Doc. Yeah.
He's like, I had to actually call a timeout and draw up a play for him. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean you actually had? Is that not what you're doing regularly?
Not to mention, are you not getting through? Like, again, I'll say, Furk, I'm going to single him out considering he got the start today and decided to shoot 3 of 10 from the field. 0 for 5 from 3, by the way. Furk, if you take one more shot before Seth does, you're done for the rest of the night. How's that sound? Like, it's inexcusable, dude. It's inexcusable.
I don't know, because, like, the other side of it is, like, if Seth is just, like, not including himself in the game, like,
I don't know.
He looked lethargic out there, Dylan.
I know
he did not look great out there today. He looked tired.
I know. And I know he's shy at times. And there's no reason he shouldn't. He should be as shy as he is with as great of a shooter as he is.
Like, at this point, whether it's him or Doc, like, we should know at this point, Seth, in order for us to win, has to insert himself. So whether it's Doc making him do it or him doing it himself, he has to insert himself in the game plan because we simply can't win without him. Like, and I hate to say that because, it's become this thing where now, is Maxey the second scorer on this team? Like, is he the second guy? Because he's the one that brings the energy every night at least. Like, what are we doing here? It's hard to say, man. Like, I'll go ahead and chalk this up. Like, I get it.
The Sixers have been great.
Like, I'll chalk it up.
Yeah.
But overall, grand scheme of things, this is concerning, to get outplayed by the Wizards. You got outplayed by the Hornets last week. So, like, just trying to build some consistency here against teams that are in the playoff scenarios in the East. Not what you want to see. I would have liked to see at least a competitive game today.
No, and like I said, I know we're coming off very harsh. It's probably just the Eagles wearing off.
It is.
We were the Sixers have been great. Embiid's been the best player in ball for the last month. Okay, they take a back-to-back against 2 of our biggest rivals. in the Celtics and the Heat in games where I was afraid they were going to lose those games. But it does suck. It is a problem to come out and lay an egg the way you did today on the road. Tired legs, I get it. You're missing 3 guys that normally start or are play major roles in your rotation. I get it, but you can't afford to have the outcome or have the way today played out where, like you said, you lose by 19 to the Washington Wizards. You got to come back. I believe they had the Magic on Wednesday night at home. Take care of the business against the Orlando Magic. I know they get the Spurs later in the week. And so then they play
Magic, Clippers. So Magic Wednesday, Clippers Friday, Spurs Sunday.
I mean, that's at least 2 out of 3. Has to be.
Yeah, I would like to think.
And if the Clippers
haven't looked good either,
right? And is PG back or no?
I'm not 100% sure.
Put it this way: if
he's
PG
not on the
and obviously,
list, so yeah, he's not on the injury list.
All right, so it's at least got to be 2 out of 3 there. If not 3 out of 3 for the Sixers, and I think they'll be fine. They just missing Danny, Matisse, and Shake does hurt. Playing 3 games in 4 nights does hurt. It's just not a look you wanted to see today.
Too often we see these eggs laid by people other than Embiid. I think that's the problem. You know, we look at this game today. Not only was it Seth having an off night, but Tobias had an off night too. Oh, and then Ferk had an off night too. You know what I mean? So 3 of your 5 starters have an off night tonight. There's 0 chance. And that's what we got to improve on because we just can't afford to have those nights, especially when you get into crunch time. Yeah. So we want them to, the thing about the Sixers, it's a lot different than the Eagles. Like the expectations for the Sixers are on a different level. We don't need to temper our expectations with the Sixers. They need to simply be better and be a contender in the NBA. So I'm not going to, make excuses for these guys.
What are we now? 14 days. We are 23, 24 days from the trade deadline. I believe February 10th is the NBA trade deadline, I think. I mean, we're getting to it. That's that week leading up, that day, the day before is going to be very nerve-wracking because it's going to tell you what Daryl Morey's vision is for the rest of the season. If 2-5 is still on this team, I think you send the message that you're okay with packing it in. You're okay with wasting this Joel Embiid season. Yeah. Again, the James Harden rumors heat up again today. I don't know if you saw those reports on Twitter today. Around the league, they're kind of getting the feel that James Harden is open to relocate this offseason. And then right below that was Sixers have shown interest. I get it, right? And if that happens, I'll forget about throwing the talent for the season. But how many more? I know he's not old, dude, but with his size, his injury history, being as physical as he is, how many more dominant seasons do you have of Joel Embiid? And when you're seeing him play the way he is, are you okay with just packing it in? No one should be.
And looking at James Harden, I just don't know where those reports come from. Like, how could we have shown interest in Harden? Wouldn't that be tampering? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
I don't understand that at all. But yeah, what I wanted to ask you. Would you at this point send it like Ben Simmons for De'Aaron Fox? Like, would you just do that trade straight up, even though it's not a great fit with Maxey?
No. See, that is the thing. If the reports about Harden are true, as much as I don't want to pack in this season,
you would hold out for.
You cannot, because then that money wise, most likely, right? That takes away your option.
Yeah.
So what? You're just going to throw it in for De'Aaron? Like De'Aaron Fox isn't bringing the Sixers a championship.
Yeah. No. To say it the nicest way possible. Yeah.
Any others? Like I said, the guy that we continue to talk about is Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Obviously, we saw what Bradley Beal could do today. That's a pipe dream at this point. Dame's a pipe dream at this point. He might not even play the rest of the season. CJ, he's not winning you a championship. So you're stuck in that ground of, okay, what do we have to give up to get a guy that can help us win a championship? Because just Ben isn't doing it. Are we okay with packing it in, or do we just want to move something to get better? But just getting better doesn't push you towards a championship. Daryl's got to be very meticulous at this trade deadline. I just don't know how the Sixers aren't active at it because you're sending that message to your team and to the fan base. Like, this team knows, right? I think Joel Joel knows, right? Like, he loves his teammates. He knows how dominant and great he is. He's got to know at the end of the day, this supporting cast isn't getting him to a championship, right?
And, the thing is, it's like, it doesn't just end at Ben Simmons either, right? Like, if, God forbid, if you don't have anything you feel is valuable enough to trade Ben Simmons, we saw some rumors today, right? Something as simple as a Karis LeVert. Like, if you can give up a Cork or an Isaiah Joe or a Paul Reed in
Hey man, I'm trying to
young
sell
player in a first round pick. So, like, how far does that,
I'm trying
how
to
far
sell
does
him
that
on
go?
Charlie Brown Jr.
Yeah, Charlie Brown Jr. What's up? Like, we can do a move like that. Move draft compensation for some
I
help.
don't
Like, I'm
know,
open to it.
like Indiana. I don't know if you've seen what Jaden Springer did in Delaware today, but
Send it.
you want a young promising player? There you go.
Send it. That's
Like
exactly,
but then the calculators come out after
marginally
that.
better.
I can't
Marginally
believe
better.
we gave up a first round for Karis LeVert.
Because then they'll say, "Oh, that could have been the next Tyrese Maxey."
Yeah,
But it also could have been the next Zaire Smith. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's opposite ends of the
100%.
spectrum here. Like,
100%, man. All right, Scotty. Is there anything else? Anything else that we're missing on today's show?
no, man.
Obviously, we don't get to talk about this guy yet because baseball just obviously we wouldn't be able to talk about him yet anyway. But baseball, being baseball right now,
could at least talk about the off season or something,
right?
right? Like,
Right.
but no, we're stuck here, and we just have to hope the Sixers and the Flyers do us better. Right?
You can forget about that Flyers pipe dream, bro. And again, you can forget about the Sixers pipe dream too if they're not active in 24, 25 days. So we will see. It's going to be an interesting Eagles offseason, and we'll be right here on the Phaithful Fanatic Show on Turf Talk at DSM Media, breaking it down for you guys all offseason long. And we look forward to doing so because it should be a pretty fun ride. Guys, for myself, for Scotty, you can check us out on Twitter at DylanJD98, and you can find him on Twitter at Scotty Drown. And of course, like I said in the beginning of the show, you can find us on at DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button if you're new to the channel. We just recently wrapped up our Eagles playoff giveaway. Obviously, guys, I got in contact with 3 of the 4 winners. Scotty, need an answer from Andrew. So, Andrew,
Okay.
if you're seeing this, we need a response from you, or we might have to find another route for that. But it sucks that you'll be getting Eagles merch after such a deflating loss. Glad we went with the Devontae Smith stuff though, and not the QB controversy route that we were thinking about going. So maybe it played out for the best. But of course, guys, if you're new to the channel, like I said, the point of that spiel was that we will be doing giveaways all year long. Obviously, towards the start of baseball season, hopefully we'll be doing some Phillies giveaways. We'll be doing Sixers giveaways. So stay tuned for that on at DSM_media. Our link tree is in our bio. We stream live to you guys through my and Scotty's Twitter, DSM Media's Facebook and YouTube. And that is going to wrap up this Phaithful Fanatic show for Scotty, for myself, for DSM Media. Have a great night.